In an industry famous for its scandals, one actor spent decades playing gangsters and criminals while living a life of near-perfect integrity. This is the incredible true story of Lam Suet, the soul of Hong Kong cinema. He began as a penniless laborer, hauling crates in a fruit market before hustling his way onto film sets. From an invisible crew member to a celebrated icon working with legends like Chow and Johnnie, his journey is one of pure, unyielding grit. To see more incredible true stories from the world of cinema, make sure you subscribe to our channel. The story of Lam Suet does not begin under the bright lights of a movie set, but in the sprawling industrial city of Tianjin, in mainland China, where he was born in 1964. His early life was unremarkable, one of millions during a period of immense change in his home country. But for a young Lam Suet, the future held a dramatic and life-altering shift. In 1979, as a teenager, he made the journey south to the vibrant, chaotic, and opportunity-filled British colony of Hong Kong. He was not an immigrant seeking work, at least not at first. He was an heir, arriving to claim an inheritance left to him by his grandfather. For a boy from the mainland, the sum of money was a fortune, a golden ticket to a new and exciting life in a city that glittered with endless possibilities. Hong Kong in the late 70s was a whirlwind of capitalism, a stark contrast to the China he had left behind. The city's energy was infectious, its temptations plentiful. For a young man suddenly flush with cash and without the guiding hand of experience, it was a dangerous combination. The inheritance, which had seemed like an endless well of security, was spent with the carelessness of youth. It trickled away on fleeting pleasures and poor decisions, vanishing much faster than he could have ever imagined. The dream of a comfortable life evaporated, leaving him with the cold, hard reality of his situation. He was alone in a massive, unforgiving city, his pockets empty and his future uncertain. The golden ticket had been torn to pieces. Survival became his only goal. The city that had once seemed like a playground now revealed its tougher side. Lam Suet joined the ranks of Hong Kong's working poor, taking on any job he could find to simply put food on the table. He became a face in the crowd of laborers who kept the city running. He worked as a porter in the bustling, 24-hour chaos of the Yau Ma Tei wholesale fruit market, his days and nights filled with the strain of hauling heavy crates. He took on other menial jobs, each one a lesson in humility and physical exhaustion. This was a world away from the dreams his inheritance had promised. It was a life of sweat, sore muscles, and the constant, nagging anxiety of not knowing where the next meal would come from. This period of intense hardship, however, forged in him a resilience and a grit that would become the bedrock of his character. His entry into the world of film was as unglamorous as his other jobs. It was not a discovery by a talent scout or a lucky break at an audition. It was a sideways shuffle, a move from one form of manual labor to another, made possible through a friend's connection in the mid-1980s. He was hired not as an actor, but as a crew member. He was a gaffer's assistant, a set decorator, a props guy, a stage manager, a script supervisor. He was whatever the production needed him to be. He was once again a pair of hands, a body to move equipment and build the illusions that would captivate audiences. The Hong Kong film industry at the time was a factory, churning out movies at a relentless pace. The sets were often chaotic, demanding, and run on a shoestring budget. The hours were brutally long, the work physically demanding. Lam Suet would spend his days under the intense heat of the studio lights, helping to construct the worlds that other people would inhabit. He was on the periphery of the magic, an invisible part of the machine. Yet, from this vantage point, he had a front-row seat to the art of filmmaking. He watched the directors command the set. He saw the cinematographers paint with light, and most importantly, he observed the actors. He would watch them work, studying their movements, their line deliveries, their ability to transform into someone else entirely. A seed of ambition began to sprout within him. He saw a path out of the anonymous toil of his life. He looked at the actors, some of whom were celebrated stars. and a simple, powerful thought took hold. He could do that. The idea was audacious. He was a portly, unpolished crew member with no training and no connections to the powerful figures who made casting decisions. But the years of hardship had stripped him of any fear of rejection. He had nothing to lose. So he began his campaign. He started pestering people. He would approach directors during breaks, asking, almost begging, for a chance. He made himself a friendly nuisance, a constant presence who wanted more than just his crew member's paycheck. He wanted a line. He wanted a moment in front of the camera. Many dismissed him, but his persistence was relentless. He was not proud. He was hungry. He used the same tenacity that got him through his days as a market porter to try and break into the exclusive club of actors. Finally, his dogged determination began to pay off. A director, perhaps tired of being asked, or perhaps seeing a flicker of something interesting in the persistent crewman, gave him a tiny role. It was likely an uncredited part, a face in a crowd, a character with no name who appeared on screen for a few seconds before disappearing. But for Lam Suet, it was everything. It was the crack in the door he had been pushing against for so long. He had made it from behind the camera to in front of it. The roles were small, often insignificant, but they were a start. He was no longer just a crew member. He was an actor, and his long, arduous journey to becoming the soul of Hong Kong's gangster films had officially, and most improbably, begun. The first small acting roles were not a gateway to immediate stardom. They were an extension of the grind. Lam Suet treated each fleeting moment on screen with the same dogged determination he had applied to hauling crates and positioning lights. He was reliable. He showed up on time, knew his lines even if he only had one, and never complained about the long hours or the repetitive takes. In the fast-paced, often chaotic world of Hong Kong filmmaking, this kind of professionalism from a bit part player was a valuable currency. Directors and production managers began to notice. He was the guy you could call at the last minute, the dependable actor who could fill a small role without causing any trouble. His name started circulating not as a potential star, but as a solid, versatile character actor who could handle anything thrown his way. His career was built one small role at a time, a slow and steady accumulation of trust and respect within the industry. His public recognition began to blossom thanks to an unexpected partnership with a director who was redefining Hong Kong comedy, the brilliant and eccentric Stephen Chow. Chow's films were a unique blend of slapstick, wordplay, and surprising pathos, and he had an eye for talent that existed outside the conventional leading man mold. He saw something in Lam Suet's everyman persona and natural comedic timing. In films like God of Cookery and later Shaolin Soccer, Lam Suet became a memorable part of Chow's cinematic universe. He wasn't the hero, but his presence was vital. He could be a bumbling antagonist or a loyal sidekick, his expressive face and physical comedy providing a perfect counterpoint to Chow's manic energy. These roles introduced him to a much wider audience. He was no longer an anonymous face. He was the funny, familiar guy from Stephen Chow's movies, a welcome presence that guaranteed a laugh. This period gave his career a massive boost, proving his versatility and making him a household name. Yet, while comedy brought him fame, it was in the dark, rain-slicked streets of the crime genre that he would find his soul and build his legacy. This transformation was guided by another visionary director, Johnnie. If Stephen Chow's world was bright, loud, and absurd, Johnnie was the polar opposite, cool, quiet, and drenched in suspense and existential dread. Tu was the master of the modern Hong Kong gangster film, and in Lam Suet, he found the perfect vessel for the complex men who populated his stories. To saw beyond the comedic actor and recognize the quiet gravity and world weariness that Lam Suet could convey, qualities likely honed during his years of struggle before he ever stepped in front of a camera. The collaboration with Johnnie solidified Lam Suet's iconic image. In a series of groundbreaking films, he became an indispensable part of To's acting troupe. In The Mission, he was a member of a team of bodyguards, a performance defined by quiet camaraderie and unspoken loyalty, where a shared glance could convey more than a page of dialogue. He was the anchor, the grounded center in a world of stylized violence. Then came PTU, where he played a police officer on a desperate nighttime search for his lost revolver. His performance was a masterclass in controlled panic and weary determination, earning him the prestigious Golden Bauhinia Award for Best Supporting Actor. This award was more than just a trophy. It was the ultimate validation. It was recognition from his peers that the former set hand had become one of the finest actors of his generation. In films like Election and its sequel, he continued to explore the nuances of power and loyalty within the intricate world of the triads. His characters were rarely the top bosses or the flashy young guns. Instead, he embodied the middlemen, the lifers, the weary soldiers who understood the brutal calculus of their profession. He played them not as caricatures, but as real, breathing human beings with their own fears, loyalties, and quiet desperations. With his bulky frame, his expressive eyes, and his unparalleled ability to simply exist on screen in a way that felt completely authentic, he became the soul of the Hong Kong gangster film. He represented the grit, the humanity, and the quiet tragedy that underpinned the genre's stylized surface. Throughout this meteoric rise, from a recognizable comedian to a critically acclaimed dramatic actor, Lam Suet remained remarkably untouched by the scandals that so often accompany fame. The Hong Kong entertainment industry was a hotbed of gossip, with celebrity feuds, financial troubles, and personal indiscretions splashed across tabloid magazines. Yet, Lam Suet's name was never in those headlines. He remained a working actor, not a celebrity. He did his job, did it brilliantly, and then went home. His personal life was kept fiercely private. He was known to be a dedicated family man, but he did not parade them for public consumption. He generated no controversy, engaged in no public spats, and was never associated with any legal troubles. This was perhaps his most unique accomplishment. In an industry that thrives on drama both on and off the screen, his story was refreshingly devoid of it. His focus was entirely on the craft, his energy reserved for the characters he brought to life, cementing a reputation not just for talent, but for unwavering professionalism and integrity. The transition into the new millennium and beyond saw Lam Suet complete his evolution from a surprising success story into an indispensable institution of Hong Kong cinema. He was no longer the rising character actor. He was the veteran, the established professional whose presence in a film's credits was a mark of quality. The frantic pace of his early career did not slow down. If anything, it accelerated. He became one of the most prolific actors in the industry, his face a constant and welcome presence on screen. His filmography swelled with an astonishing number of roles, ranging from leading parts in smaller comedies to crucial supporting characters in big-budget blockbusters. He was everywhere, a testament to his incredible work ethic and his unique appeal that seemed to transcend genre and audience demographics. As the Hong Kong film industry increasingly collaborated with and catered to the massive market in mainland China, Lam Suet navigated this shift with ease. His fluency in both Cantonese and Mandarin, combined with his established reputation, made him a sought-after talent for co-productions. He demonstrated a remarkable adaptability, fitting seamlessly into mainland Chinese historical epics, contemporary dramas, and splashy action films, just as he had in the gritty crime thrillers of his home city. He never lost the authenticity that defined him, but he proved that his appeal was universal. He was no longer just a Hong Kong icon. He was a respected figure in the broader landscape of Chinese-language cinema, a familiar and beloved uncle to a new generation of moviegoers. This public persona, that of the affectionate Uncle Suet, became his defining image. The term, used by fans and colleagues alike, was a sign of deep respect and endearment. It signified his status as an elder statesman who had seen it all. He was approachable, known for his easygoing nature on set, and always willing to share his experience with younger actors. There was no air of celebrity about him, no pretense of being a star. He was still the working man, the craftsman who just happened to make his living by pretending to be other people. This image was solidified by the one and only trouble ever publicly associated with his name: the story of his impoverished youth. By this stage in his career, that chapter of his life was no longer a tale of hardship, but had transformed into a foundational legend. It was the story that explained everything about him: his humility, his appreciation for his success, and his profound ability to portray characters who felt real and lived in. His journey from a penniless laborer to a celebrated actor became a source of quiet inspiration. It was a story told with admiration, a real-life example of overcoming adversity through sheer persistence. It also served as a stark, unspoken contrast to the complete and utter lack of controversy in his professional life. He had spent decades playing gangsters, corrupt officials, and desperate men living on the edge of society. His on-screen life was a catalog of scandals, betrayals, and troubles. Yet his actual life remained a testament to stability and integrity. As he aged, this clean record became even more remarkable, a defining feature of his legacy. He proved that it was possible to work for decades in the intense spotlight of the entertainment world without ever succumbing to its vices. He managed this by building a formidable wall between his public work and his private existence. It was widely known that he was a husband and a father, but beyond that, the details were scarce, and that was by his own design. He never used his family to cultivate a public image or to generate sympathetic press. They were simply his private life, a realm shielded from the cameras and the gossip columns. His interviews almost exclusively focused on the work, the film at hand, the character he was playing. This was not due to a lack of personality, but a demonstration of his priorities. The job was the job. His life was his life. In an age of relentless self-promotion and celebrity culture, his quiet dedication to this principle was a powerful statement. His enduring legacy, therefore, is not written in tabloid headlines or scandalous tell-alls. It is etched into the hundreds of films he has helped shape. It is found in the weary eyes of a cop in PTU, the nervous loyalty of a triad brother in Election, and the surprising warmth of a comedic sidekick in a Stephen Chow film. He is a living library of characters, a testament to the power of a dedicated craftsman. He never sought the spotlight, yet his immense body of work created a legacy brighter and more lasting than those of many who desperately chased it. As he continues to work, adding new roles to his incredible filmography, he remains the consummate professional, the respected veteran, the soul of his craft. He is Lam Suet, the man who started with nothing and built a career out of sheer will, becoming a legend not because of the drama in his life, but because of the profound truth he brought to his art. Lam Suet's legacy isn't just his hundreds of roles, it's the quiet dignity with which he built his career. He proved that in the flashy world of filmmaking, relentless hard work and unwavering professionalism could triumph over the need for fame or attention. From the streets to the screen, his transformation is a testament to the power of pure dedication. His story is not one of drama, but of an artist who let his incredible body of work speak for itself. What's your favorite Lam Suet role? Let us know below and subscribe for more deep dives.